for what this is going to look like down the line. And I am so happy to introduce to you memory. My experience of memory is someone who is gentle. And through that gentleness, there's so much strength. It moves mountains. It moves hearts. Yeah. Often our hearts can be closed, but through that gentleness, you get to see that blood flowing again, especially coming from a man. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, please, please give it up for Memory. Hello, Memory. How are you today?
Hey Stan, I'm doing great, great. I am so blessed today to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast. I'm experiencing so much joy and gratitude right now. Those words, wow. Gentleness, absolutely love that. Um, Something that's coming up for me right now is actually that being a man doesn't require you to be strong all the time, and there's power in gentleness. I feel like it can move energies, it can move people in so many different ways. So thank you for reminding me of that.
I mean, it's like we said before we started, me to you, right? So a lot of the things that I say or that we say usually, we are saying it to ourselves, and this is a reminder for me to be gentle as well. Because I know sometimes I tend to lean into the beat up, right? Even if it's subtle, you see. So thank you for setting the tone, right? So, of course, we want to be intentional with everybody's time. So we're going to get right to it. We're going to get right to it. Um, Here is a random question. Okay, I want to start with a random question because I feel that that's where you really open up because you really got to tap into the heart, right? So, Memory, what are two words that your surroundings would use to describe
Wow. Okay. Yes, definitely very random.
you?
Two words that my surroundings will use: loving and curious.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely those two words specifically.
yeah. I would say the same. If you would ask me, the first thing I'd say is gentle. For some reason, it's just gentle. It's something gentle about you. You step into a space and it's like gentle, but I know there's power in there.
There's power and there's safety as
Safety.
well. And I love that because that's something that I explored for a while. Who do I get to be for somebody else to experience freedom? And that's a big question I ask myself every day in every space that I walk into, because everybody deserves to experience safety. And I believe that that's one of my principles, is to walk into spaces being loving, being curious, or even open and just expressing who I am, because I am a gift. So are you. You walk into the space and we know we're going to be supported. We know we're going to be loved on. We know we're going to be safe.
Yeah, yeah, and I love how you create that for yourself, right? Yes, you create the safety for your surrounding, but you also create it for yourself, and that's what creates that ripple effect that I mentioned before.
It
Yeah,
always starts with yourself.
yeah,
Everything starts with who we are constantly being starts with ourselves.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads me to my very first question.
Mm.
Well, besides the bonus one, I was just curious. Uh, so often when people make changes in their life, it can be anything. It can be any factor. You probably went through an accident or experienced something really harsh that really pushed you into this new lifestyle. So when was the turning point for you? When did you say, I can't be this person anymore?
So I've always found myself asking similar questions growing up, because for me it's a constant everyday thing, because we're learning new information. But a significant moment in my life where I knew I couldn't go back was when I experienced a 5 year relationship breakup that I
Mm.
went through, and I found myself making a decision, but not committing to the decision of the breakup. And what I mean by that is, oh, I broke up with this person,
Yeah.
but I'm still here chasing this person and trying
Yeah.
to prove to them my worth
Yeah.
and attaching my worth to that, right?
Yes.
And eventually I made a decision. Something clicked actually, where I was like, wow, no, I don't like that. I don't like that for myself. I cannot do that for myself. So I can't go back to that because it's toxic. So I remember saying, you know what? No, I'm not doing that no more. Taking a step back, walking away. And it was everything that I didn't want to do because my pride didn't allow me to, which was walk away. And this time I said, let me do something different. And I walked away from that relationship. And from there, I started exploring who I was as a person and who I wanted to become. And who do I get to shift to? And it brought me into a space and a community with people who were looking for similar stuff.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's so common. And I love what you said about you made a decision but wasn't committed to it. You see? And it's interesting because we also get to explore the fine line between the decision and the commitment, right? We think that the decision is the commitment, but the decision can also be impulsive. Yeah, it could be from one day to the next. Like, you want to go to the beach tomorrow? Yes, let's do it. Tomorrow arrives and you're like, I don't know if I feel it. Right.
But then you get to explore your integrity, right? You got to be in integrity with yourself. You also get to explore what boundaries you're going to be setting with yourself. And that's very important because keeping your word to yourself creates this like trust with you. You know, you're like, okay, I know I can do this. I know I can get there. And when you start experiencing that trust with yourself, you start knowing that other people can do the same thing, and you start trusting them too. It was probably one of the best lessons I learned at that time was how do I get to trust somebody else, and it actually started with me. And don't get me wrong, there'll be times that I'll still get into that conversation again. Right. However, I'm a work in progress. You know, a master always is in practice.
Yeah, and what's coming up for me is, how would you tell someone who also made a decision but haven't been committed to it because they haven't been able to manage the guilt or the shame or the regret in making that decision? So for example, with you made the decision, I know this is not working for me. But just because you also made the commitment to step away from it, would you say that you still experienced the feeling of regret? Like, oh man, I'm so committed to this that I'm feeling the regret. I'm so committed that I'm feeling the shame. I'm so committed that I'm feeling I wasted my time. Would you say that that's something that you experience as well?
I definitely experienced a lot of guilt. A lot of regret. I did want to go back with this person.
Yeah.
But I was so committed to me at that point.
There we go.
That I was like, yo, I really deserve something better. This person is actually already had somebody else a week after a breakup. This person was doing drugs. And I'm like, is that really something I need to commit to somebody else who can't even take care of themselves?
Yeah.
When I deserve somebody that's going to take care of me. However, I didn't need to look for somebody else who took care of me. I needed to take care of me. When it comes to other people who have not yet committed to that, I feel like they get to be loved on. We get to give them grace. And we get to trust that at their own time, they will figure it out. Because there's one thing that I believe in is that the universe is always conspiring for you, not against you. So there will be a moment in time, the life will throw at you the lesson again, and you're going to be like, I'm tired of this shit. And that's where the breakthrough is going to happen.
Yeah.
You get to trust in that.
Yeah. And this leads to the second question. And by the way, I love how you lead the next question, like so subtly. And it's always like that. It's like you you respond to the question, and then as you're finishing that first question, you're kind of tapping into the second question already.
Really?
Yeah, you'll see why. Yeah, because my following question is, how do you maintain that man or that person that you are committed to being? Because I feel that a lot of people want to, but then in the maintenance is where people flunk. I just hung out with two of my friends, let's say, and I was able to not think about the situation. I was able to remember that I made a bold decision. The third day, I'm by myself. Now it's me against me. My friends are not around, right? And I'm this close to calling this person and be like, hey, how you doing? I don't know, can we make it work? Right? So how do you maintain that?
How do I
How,
keep my words to
yeah,
myself?
yeah.
So, for me, what works now versus back in the day, right? So back in the day, I actually didn't have support.
Right.
At that time, I was very hyper independent. So I learned how to ground myself and soothe myself without any help. But there was also little moments where my mother got to soothe me, and it created breakthrough as well. I think what supported me at that time, I would say, was I'm so sorry. I'm actually very emotional about that time because it was a very dark time for me. I remember just being with myself, grabbing my crystals, and words of affirmation to me. You are loved. God loves you. You are powerful. You're going to get through this. Trust yourself. And those words were so helpful when I told me, because in the back of my head, there was another voice telling me that I was not worthy. There was another, that I was not enough, that I was doing everything wrong. So it became a battlefield. And the only person that was getting hurt constantly in that battlefield was me. But I am thankful that I got through it with words of affirmation. As opposed to now, I think I can ground myself and call my friends at any time. And it really takes a village and a community to
Yeah.
take care of one person. And I have so many amazing friends, a lot of female friends. They're
Yeah.
my, and they always show up for me. And sometimes I'm not even the one reaching out. Sometimes they're reaching out because they know my patterns already. They'll be like, memory has not said anything to me in 2 days. Let me check in on them. And that's where I'm like, wow, you know, we are so connected to the universe that this is how it's conspiring to support you, that it just sends the support. We're so connected and tied to each other that we're just the we pop up in each other's head and we're like, let's connect. My friends ground me, my family ground me, my community ground me, my therapist grounds me,
Yeah.
and I also know how to ground myself because I picked up those skills when I was very hyper independent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how you see the commitment still showing up today.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And that commitment is the ripple effect that I keep saying. And before the podcast, I keep saying it's the ripple effect you create, and it's through that commitment, and to see that is like powerful, and like I said, you do it so gentle, you see? There's people still holding on to the past, even though they're sort of committed to do something different, but still holding on to the past, right? Holding on to the past to create their future. And this is something that we hear in this space as well. Some people want to hold on to the past to create the future, meaning I've been through this, I'm not going to go through it again, right? But I feel like you've done I've been through this and I've gotten stronger to open up my heart again, right? And that's what I
Wow.
sense.
Yeah. I think also the gentleness that comes with this is because I also know that it doesn't need to be hard. I've experienced so many people try to give it to me hard, and that hardness built a wall around me. It built like a toughness, and that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to tap into my heart, my vulnerability. If I want it to be open, that's where I get to tap into. You get to tell everybody what you need, which is, I need you to speak to me in a kind way. I need you to handle me in this way because I am gentle, I am fragile, and that's okay. I, I'm human, just like you. I don't need to be a strong man all the time. I can when I need to. I don't always need to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can also talk about what strong is, because I feel like if we can define strong, I think we all have our different perceptions of what strong is. But I feel like it is being strong in some way. I think that when we say strong, we think of, uh,
The macho toughness,
right,
right?
right. I'm strong. Nobody can hurt me, right? Right. But I think that there's so much strongness. I'm going to use the word strongness in just being, like I said before, and just being gentle, and being mindful, being aware, and being aware of that commitment you've made to yourself is already strong, you know.
You know, the last time that we shared a space together when we were in a workshop, I was exploring what it means to be a man. I still am because there's other information coming into me. And one of the ladies said something similar to me to what you said. Being strong can also look like your vulnerability. Being strong can also mean your gentleness. Being strong is the way you held me the past few years. And they didn't use the word strong, they actually used the word powerful because there is power. I mean, I believe strong is in powerful. And getting clear that I am powerful because of my vulnerability has shifted a lot for me in the past 2 weeks. Because now I get to show up as authentic memory. Memory is going to come up there and be like, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. What's going on? Are you all right? And sometimes it's not just with the words, but just your energy really comes out when you're with people and they feel you. I have people coming up and they're like, your energy is so beautiful.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's that commitment part, man. I'm still stuck on that commitment part.
You're still in the commitment?
Yeah, because
Alright,
it's
tell me more.
because it's the commitment. I mean, because I've struggled a lot with commitment, and when I hear commitment, I also see it in myself too. I see the commitment in being in this self-development space, getting the word out, connecting with people who are as powerful, who are even more powerful, to get the word out, because I feel like everybody deserves this work. Everybody deserves to practice mindfulness and also practice seeing a world that is harmonious, because it can be. And the world doesn't have to be outside, it can be inside, you know. And the more we connect to that, the more we want to be it, exude it, and so you invite people in. People realize, like, man, damn, it can be harmonic,
Mm-hmm.
right?
You know, you keep mentioning the commitment part, and I've never seen it as a commitment part. I've actually always seen it as purpose.
Mm.
You right?
Right? Yeah, that's the thing, right?
And throughout the years, I've discovered that I have a different purpose every year. You know, and I felt like my purpose this year specifically has been to be loving, to be kind, especially with the state of the world and how it's going. There is already a lot of unkindness out there. So who do I get to show up as so it can start rippling out there? There's a purpose in my kindness, there's a purpose in my love. I'm loving that you're saying the commitment because I have not associated myself with that word as much. And now that I'm seeing it in that way, I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
That's new insight for me.
Yeah, it's a commitment. It's literally a commitment, and it doesn't have to be so in your face. Like, I'm committed to this, I'm committed to that. No, I think that you declared commitment, and so the commitment is just showing up how it's showing up, straight up. You're committed to being around powerful people, powerful women. You know what I mean? You're committed to doing your healing through the stuff that you offer, your services, your crystals. That's healing, right? That's your commitment. This is me. This is memory. Everything I do is memory. You create memories. Like, what? You know what I mean?
I love that.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
love
amazing, right? So, and it leads me to the next question. So, and again, I'm always going to refer to, like, the person who's listening. They're looking for something. They're looking for light. They're looking for, I'm going to use the word hope. they're looking for perspective around, okay, if these people, how did these people get into this space? Because I feel like this space looks so intimidating from the outside. Do I really have to think about everything I'm doing? Do I really have to be critical about everything I'm doing? Do I have to hold myself accountable with everything I'm doing? And as scary as it sounds, is actually a blessing in the long run, because you get to hold yourself accountable. Yes, it does sound scary, but you do get to hold yourself accountable and do get to see the shadows and do get to see the light, you know? So how do you maintain, what daily practices would you say helps you maintain yourself in that space where you're constantly being in that commitment, being in that purpose, and also being that new person that you know you can be?
Mhm. My favorite word, curiosity.
There we go.
And when I'm being curious, I get to check in on myself. And I get to be curious on what I'm experiencing. I get to be curious on how I'm receiving information. And when I say information is somebody can say something to me, and what if I hear it a whole different way?
Yes.
And
I love that.
like the other day, my manager is like, he tells one of the employees, "Hey, come and help Memory, clean this shelves." And I'm over here like, "You're saying I'm not cleaning them good enough?" But what they were saying was like, "No, I'm just getting you somebody to support you." So how you receive information, that's I get to check in on what the voice in the back of my head is telling me, and I'm like, what? That's where the battles begin, or I would like to say now negotiations, because I noticed that what works for me is I started making more of a negotiation with the back of my head and acknowledging it and being like, wow, you I see why you're experiencing that, and from I'll talk to myself in my mind, be like, I see why you're experiencing that now, Memory. I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna let you get there, right? So that grounds me, talking to myself, acknowledging the feelings that come up, being in curiosity on what I'm experiencing around feelings, around my thoughts. I am not my thoughts and I am not my feelings. And I'm clear on that. I have to take step backs and analyze them, acknowledge them, feel them out. Some people will not feel them up, but I offer everybody, and I invite them to explore and feel those feelings out, because that's the only way out. You commit to yourself in that way, feeling it out. That's another space where I found commitment. At one point was being in, being present to myself, sitting there and just going through all the nasty, uncomfortable feelings, and there is knowledge and wisdom that comes out through it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think that's like the light.
Mm-hmm.
That's the light right there. I think that's what people struggle with the most, because you can, like I said before, and this is because this is something that I experienced too. It's like the same analogy. When you're around people and you're in company, right? You're in company, you can be like, problems, they don't exist. But when you're by yourself, behind doors, this is when life is like, what's up now? What are
Yeah,
you making out of life?
absolutely.
You know, there's an expression that goes, usually we ask life, what is life about? But life is usually asking us, what is life about? You know what I mean? So
Right.
when we're behind doors, it's like, what is life about? From life.
You know, I see you talking a lot about when we're behind closed doors, right? The past year, I was behind my doors. I had taken a break from being in our community, and I was experiencing really intense depression. I was actually experiencing suicide, and that was all from being behind the doors, being by myself, being disconnected, and not a, not really facing myself. I was there, and it was all coming out, and it was, but never really chose to confront it. I kept throwing it to the back of my mind. Let me watch Netflix. Uh, let me um let me make my bracelets. I mean, and let me play with my crystals. Let me clean. I was masking it with all that at home. However, I at one point I chose to connect and connect with others. And I'm like, I watched somebody just, they inspired me. And Uncle Butterfly Soul, we call him, right? And I watched how he just inspired others. And at one point, he had me checking on me. And I acknowledged what was in there. That little voice in the back of my thoughts, that's where it started for me. Acknowledging those up. And I was like, wow, I don't need to shut them off or brush them off. I get to negotiate with them. And that's where the light is created. That's where the peace is created. That's where the love is created. That's where you start feeling stimulated
Yeah.
and happy, and you discover something new about you that you hadn't noticed in a while. It's like an adventure. It's just inwards.
Yeah. Yeah, man, you're so in depth, you know. You're deep. No, for real, you're deep. You're deep, and when I say deep, I try I hope it doesn't sound superficial. But when I say deep, I mean like speaking with you, I want to speak all day. Literally, because I know that we tap into one area and it just opens up so many other doors. And I hope that the listeners are also experiencing that. And for those listeners who might be in this like middle ground where, man, my surroundings aren't really speaking about this, but I love talking about this stuff. I hope that you just connect with your heart. You know, feel the curiosity in this podcast at this moment and feel the growth that Memory has been sharing. And just try to connect with how all of that, all of those decisions plus commitments have led him here. You see, like it's possible. It's possible, right? If you fear being an outcast, I would challenge you to run towards that. Because in that quote unquote outcast is where the blessing is. When Memory decided to be committed, in that outcastness is where he met these powerful people around him. Literally. It might sound like really confusing, but that's what I'm experiencing. You know, once you make that decision, once you make that commitment, like, you know what? I'm going to just follow my heart. I'm going to follow my intuition. Everything just flows. And you start building that relationship with time. Divine timing. Time doesn't exist. And you realize, oh gosh, these people arrived at my life at the perfect moment. Oh my God. You know, and it just happens in such a divine way that you don't even want to explain it. It's just happening and it's there. You acknowledge it, you know, and that's what I'm experiencing too. Like I didn't know Memory before, and now I do. And it just happens to be that besides that he's a Virgo, right? This man is as powerful and spiritual as I am, you know, and so I see so much of myself in you. And so I just love listening. And you mentioned Leslie Butterfly, so I'm hoping I can get Leslie in this podcast, dude. Yeah.
Well, stop hoping. Declare
It's going to happen.
I will.
I will.
Right?
That's a thank you for that.
You know we have some amazing
yes.
men in
Oh.
the community,
Oh,
and the way they all present themselves is beautiful because it's like a variety of men. It's like we all get to create the context and content around who we get to be as a man. And people don't understand that because I have experience going into certain groups where men are like, no, men need to be like this. And I'm like, I'm not coming back to that group, honey, because it's just there's a close-mindedness. I do want to challenge myself in the near future to go back and just be, as opposed to present knowledge and allow people to just experience me and my being and my energy and not share any information on who I am as a person to see how I can help them shift their mindset after that. That's going to be something I explore soon.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, but going back to the powerful man part, I look at you and it's like, I remember you writing something like, oh my God, conversation stimulates me. Was it that you said?
Yeah, that's what it was.
And I was like, yes, somebody that understands, the curiosity that comes to conversation. It just opens up a whole world. It's like diving into a book, but you're the book.
Yeah.
And I'm always curious, and I hope that moving forward, I get to experience you and be the one asking you these questions. I get to look inside that book as well, brother.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. This is not the last. This is not the last interview. I hope it's not.
Absolutely.
I want to continue to revisit because we continue to evolve, right? This is not just memory and that's it. This is memory and he continues. This is memory and more. You see, so this is not the. It's not the last.
Absolutely.
The last moment. I like to call this moments. In fact, not even episodes, like moments. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. So yeah. So I mean, I have one more last question, and then after that, I have one more question. But it's like a last question officially, and then one last question. So, right. So we've been talking about the memory who was this one person or this past version, and so throughout his journey, it's been about commitments. That's what I've been hearing. It's been about the commitments. It's been about the purpose that you mentioned. But I stay stuck on that commitment because I know that commitment is something also that I'm resistant to in some ways. But I want to continue to use that because I love the definitions that I'm forming around it as we're speaking. Commitment is not just signing a contract, even though contracts do help because it's a reminder. But commitments show up in different ways. And it doesn't have to be robotic. That's just me talking to myself. So now that you're here, what is a perspective that you would share to that past memory? What would you tell that person?
Well, because of this conversation, I'm actually like, I really do want to share with that past memory that he gets to commit to being gentle, loving, and kind, no matter what anybody has said. If it is about who we are being, we get to become, right? So
Right.
I want Caesar, because that's my name,
Right.
And that's who I address when I speak of my little self. It's Caesar. My chosen name as memory is the memory now. I would like little Caesar to know that he gets to commit to being loving, being gentle, being kind, and being open in a graceful way. All those beliefs that we had that we need, that it was weakness, all those the lessons that we were taught that we couldn't cry, we couldn't be weak. We get to be that. Allow my mother to teach me that, as opposed to brushing it off like I did all those years. Because my mother has always been so loving, so kind, so gentle. And I'm grateful that I get to pick that up from her now that I'm older. Yeah, I want him to know that.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm just connecting with that.
Speaking about this right now, about my mother, I think that I built a belief around commitment, or responsibility. I felt like because she was emotional, I felt like I needed to take care of her at one point. And I felt like I didn't want to be that, because I'm like, oh my God, I already got to deal with her stuff. Now I can't. I'm like,
right.
now I got to deal with my stuff.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's just been such a blessing to deal with my stuff. So much has come out of it, the way I show it to me, the way I show it to the world. And now I get to commit to showing it to other men, being okay with other men experiencing it, because I already see how it has impacted the people in my workplace. It's so good. Like, my boss comes and he just grabs me. Mind you, this is the top boss coming and just hugs me. He's like, come on, hug me. And I'll be like, that is so cute. We get to experience being cute.
Remember when I said before that you always lead to the next question? And this is a random question. This is a bonus question.
Really?
You'll see. You ready?
I'm ready.
Here's the question to close. Do you feel understood?
Do I feel understood? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I have the right people in my life that understand me at every moment. Um, Even when they don't understand me, it's okay. I give them grace. I know they will figure it out one day, what I meant or what I'm being. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So for anybody who thinks that showing up with love, with care, with gentleness, if you think that that's going to break you or I don't know, put you in a place that you don't want to be in, memory is a testimony, man. You know, especially for a man. For a man who believes that being loving and gentle, he's going to be taken advantage of. Right? The people who do take advantage of you don't understand you and aren't for you.
Oh, exactly.
Right?
And they will fall off
Oh yeah,
from your
immediately.
life immediately. You
Immediately.
know, the right people will stay because they're inspired by who you are
Mm.
constantly being or who you're becoming. That they're like, oh, well, I want a piece of that. I want some
Mm.
of that happiness.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I want some of the happiness too. You know, some people, the people that don't want it, they stay in their little cramped up shell, being angry at the world. But that's another key. We are light, and our light is constantly radiating. And when people see that, they want a piece of that. And I like when they want a piece of me. Let me tell you, because
Because you're going to give it to
exactly
them.
just a little bit. They gotta make their own.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was beautiful. I like that one. Yeah, I like that one. I felt compelled to ask that because I already kind of knew the response to that. I feel like you do feel understood. Um, but I wanted to bring that into awareness for the people who feel like they're not understood, especially stepping into the space. Because, again, this space is beautiful, man. It's beautiful. I mean, it does require maintenance, like everything else. It's like when you have a car, you have to change the oil. Yeah, and there's moments in your life where you got to change the oil.
Absolutely, and I think the biggest part to being understood is that you get to share with somebody else. You get to open up to somebody else. You get to be vulnerable with somebody else. And because if you don't speak up on what you're experiencing or what you're feeling, nobody else will ever know what you're going through. And at all. It's just you and behind those doors, just feeling pity, feeling depressed, feeling sad. We are like creators. We get to create ourselves. We get to create everything else. And when we're not constantly stimulating ourselves in that way, we get stuck. That's where all that happens. I'm not being understood. Well, maybe you get to open up to your coworker, your best friend, your family. Some people won't always welcome it, and that's okay. Move to the next person. Don't allow that rejection to keep you down. Don't personalize it, because there's a billion people in this world, and eventually you're gonna find the right one, and quicker than whatever you think you will.
Yeah, and we're here, like
Yeah.
including us,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're here for we stand for a transformed world, and this is how we do. This is how we declare it by having these conversations. There's power in words. There's power in collaboration. There's power in openness. I mean, let me tell you, I know you've heard a lot about memory, but let me tell you, I've been through so much to get to this place that we are right now. To be this open has been a journey, and it continues to be so. But like Memory said before, I'm in this commitment to be different because that's where different results are in being different
And trying something new.
and trying something new and being new, right? And that's the name of the podcast. Become. You want to be it so you can see it.
Absolutely. It's think of it as your little formula for manifestation, some people would say. But for me, I look at as an analyzer, I look at it, wow. 1 + 1 = 2. So I being allows me to get this. Okay, now I get to be curious and try all the other ways of being. What's gonna support me at this moment, or how can this make a new result? Like ooh, like the stuff that has happened, that I've created.
Yeah.
I
Beautiful.
love it.
Yeah.
This being a result, saying yes to you, being courageous,
Mm.
and actually being responsible and saying, okay, yes to you, and coming here and having fun, just answering these questions, diving into myself, and actually getting new perspectives from you is beautiful. I'm becoming somebody new now that I've experienced this. Yes, thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Memory. Thank you. So, um, one thing that I like to do when I'm closing the podcast is giving people a challenge, and I'm gonna give people a challenge today, and it's basically the first question that I asked Memory. I asked them, what are two words that people would use to describe him? So my challenge to you, to the listener, is find somebody you care about, somebody you love, and ask them, what are two words you would use to describe me? To see what they say. And the purpose to this is to see, does it align with how you view yourself? You see? Because you might see yourself as courageous, and your loved one might see you as somebody who's outrageous. And so you get to see the difference in that, and you get to see yourself through them, and especially from people that love you and that care about you. So that's the challenge. Ask somebody, how can they describe you in two words? And live with that, sit with that. Write it in your journal, your notes. Sit with that and see what that does. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So, Memory, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for showing up. And thank you for being a YES! Exclamation mark.
Thank you so much, Stan. You're amazing. You're definitely the light that we all need. I appreciate you so much, brother. This is I love you.
Yeah.
And I want you to sit with that, because not every man can say that to another man. But I love you. Okay?
Thank you. I received that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that this was opening for you. It was inspiring. And, really quick, Memory, before we go. So tell the people stuff that you do, that you make, and the purpose behind it. Because I have 2 of these on me right now. And if the world doesn't know about this, then I'm going to feel guilty, brother. Right?
Just order like 5 more, too.
Literally, though.
Actually, I have my business on IG, and it's called Threats of Intention. I create accessories that will support you being intentional, so you can experience meaningful connections with others. I do my best to customize them, but recently I've just been putting out their product that's just for everybody. Currently, right now, he is wearing like my pins. I have a clear quartz beat on there with a number 4, which represents love and connection for us. But you can always join my Threats of Intention. I also do workshops where I teach how to be intentional, but also how to be intentional with the accessories and what they mean to you, so you can constantly remember who you get to be at that moment in time. And that's where I'm at with my life.
Yeah.
Business owner now.
Yeah, look at that. Congratulations. Right. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you for being in this moment with us. We hope that you tapped into the person you want to be, right? This podcast is intended to push you towards your greatness. And I hope that that's all you see at the moment, the greatness in you and the greatness in other people trying to tap into their greatness as well. So thank you. I can't wait to see you for the next moment. It's going to be so intense and powerful, because the next guest that we have is a reflection of what just happened today. So thank you so much, and I'll catch you on the next one. Let's get it. Peace.